What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of La Banca Podcast in English. I'm your host, Mark, aka Marquinho, aka Che Segovia, alongside my co-host and a happy Chelsea supporter, Fidel. What's going on, bud?
Hey, yo, what's good? What's good? I'm ready, man. I'm excited to be here. I like tonight's topics. Thank you guys for joining us. Man, I'm telling you, champions, Clásicos. I mean, you name it, man. We got good things coming up on this show, and I'm ready to talk about this. I'm ready to fight. Let's go.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, obviously, I know you're excited. I know your Chelsea Blues are out there. Kind of a little bit of a not too much of a rough away match, but they came through and they're on to the semis in the Champions League, man. So it's a really good look. But before we get to the Champions League, man, we'll save that for last, because I know that's going to be a very lengthy topic that we're going to be on. But let's recap the biggest game in the world that happened this past weekend, and obviously not too good from my side, but a Clasico. Real Madrid versus Barcelona in the Estadio Alfredo de Santafino. Obviously, the training grounds, they're Santiago Bernabéu, still under construction still right now due to their remodeling renovations. A 2-1 defeat for Barcelona. Obviously, not good for me. Real good for our buddy little man. Fidel, I know you watched the game. Your thoughts, man? Just your opinion on it, since you're a neutral.
Man, I lived it, bro. I lived it. I think this is one of the best Clásicos I've seen so far in the last maybe 5 years or so. I could tell you on both sides, interesting facts. We knew there was going to be a Barcelona who's going to come out and look out for a victory. They were going to come out and look for the goal. And we knew that there was going to be a Madrid who was supposed to be a little bit more reserved because they had champions between this week coming up, and they still had to win a Clásico, right, to stay in the fight. So to me, it looked like it was going to be an all or nothing, right, for both teams. Interestingly enough, Madrid came out on top. I think Barcelona deserved a lot more, at least a tie, right? Maybe even a win, right? Because of possession, because playing better. But Madrid came out with a game plan. They weren't going to go out there and look to possess the ball. They were going to go out there and look for the counterattack because they had Vinicius, they had Benzema. But the key to the game to me was a couple of things. One, I never expected this from Valverde, right? A guy who was going to come in and play in the middle and help close up the middle of the field and go on a counterattack as well and create some kind of offense or create some kind of passes for these forwards, which he did for Benzema, right? That was one thing. And the second thing is how, Zidane actually controlled the game to a certain limit to where he put 5 defenders after the second goal, 4 midfielders and a forward, and that being Benzema up top. And It basically made Barcelona kind of desperate to kind of look for at least a goal so they can at least have an opportunity to tie or win the game, right? And so Barcelona went out and started trying to look for spaces, and they couldn't find it, of course. With 5 guys in the back, 4 in the middle, you pretty much got all the space closed in, right? So it was really, really, really interesting to see that. It was great on behalf of Zidane because he said, hey, this is what I have to play with. This is what I'm going to go with. And this is the plan. I'm going to stick to it. A lot of guts because at the end, in the minute, I think it was minute 70 or 69, where he made some critical subs. He took out Benzema. He took out Vinicius. He took out Valverde. He took out Toni Kroos. And the reason why he took out these guys is because he's like, hey, man, I'm ahead. I'm gonna look to seal the game. I'm gonna lock myself in the back. But I have a Champions League coming up, and that's also important. So shout out to Zidane for doing an amazing job, and shout out to Barcelona for giving it a great game too, man. I was excited. I was happy. I was like, I'm both in. And look at those penalties that could have been called on behalf of Barcelona. And also, let's look at that crossbar that I think is Ilax, or what's that kid's name? The young adult.
Alex,
They hit the crossbar. Yeah, man, that was amazing. So at the end of everything, I think we as fans, we won because we saw a great game. So I was really, really excited about that.
for sure, man. I mean, obviously not the outcome that I wanted to see. For a second there, I thought Mourinho was back coaching Real Madrid at the end. The way they were parking the bus, but obviously they had to go with whatever tactic they thought was to go seal the game. At the end of the day, it's all about winning the game at the end. So props to those guys over there, even though I don't really like the fact that they won, but it is what it is. It's not over. It's nowhere near over. Obviously, for us in the league, we're only a point behind those guys and 2 points behind Atletico Madrid, with a game coming up against those guys as well, which will determine a lot as far as standings and where we're positioned and all that good stuff. So I mean, like I said, a bump on the road, but obviously not not the end all be all. Um, you know, the game of soccer or the game of football, a game of inches, man. Like you mentioned earlier, the Exalas crossbar, hit at the end of the match, where inch or two below, that would have been the game tire. It would have tied the game. And then we'd be talking a whole different story here today. Then Leo Messi's corner kick that almost went in on Olympia. Man, just would have been
That left me like breathless, man.
another highlight for him
Yeah.
against Madrid. Um, for those who are always criticizing Messi for whatever reason, I don't understand it, to be honest, because he's done everything and everything above and beyond. So I mean, the fact that there's criticism of him, it's beyond me. But regardless, just another tip of the cap to Messi. But we'll see, man. Dude, like I said, there's still 8 weeks left of La Liga matches. And at the end of the day, I still believe that Barcelona is going to lift the La Liga title at the end of the day.
I see it
We'll see
kind of
what happens.
difficult. I see it kind of difficult, man. I think Barcelona has the toughest schedule out of all of them.
Yeah.
After that, I see Atletico Madrid having another tough schedule, and I just see it that Real Madrid really has the easiest schedule of the last eight schedule games. And of course, Barcelona and Atletico. Barcelona is going to take some points away from Atletico, so I think that's going to bump up Real Madrid up to the top. But again, you see a lot of injuries on behalf of Madrid. You see them fighting for the Champions League, so there could be a slump on the road for them, and hopefully Barcelona can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah, out of the three, obviously Real Madrid has the toughest, the easiest schedule, but they do have a little bit of a difficult match with Real Betis, who's fighting for European competition next season in the Europa League. They have against Sevilla, who are trying to fight off Real Sociedad for that final spot in Champions League qualification for next season as well. So we'll see. Hopefully there's a slip up, but at the end of the day, Barcelona can control what they can control, and as long as we keep winning, I feel that we have every great chance and opportunity to lift up that league title. But speaking of Barcelona, before we can lift that league title, there's another title we want to lift this weekend, and some call it a revenge match. The Copa del Rey final, which is this Tuesday. I mean this Saturday. I'm sorry, at 2:30 our time, Central Standard Time, I believe. FC Barcelona versus Atletico Bilbao. You might be thinking deja vu, yeah, because this is the same final we saw earlier in the year in February for the Spanish Super Cup. Atletico Bilbao versus Barcelona, which Atletico Bilbao ended up topping Barcelona and winning that trophy to start the year off real well. Fidel, this is Atletico Bilbao's third final this year.
That is correct.
Obviously, the Super Copa that we mentioned earlier. Last week, unfortunately, they lost the 2020 version of the Copa del Rey final versus Real Sociedad 1-0. So they're 1-1 on finals this year. What do you think of the opportunity is or chances are for them to avenge last week's loss and go double up on Barcelona and take 2 trophies away from them this season?
This is completely personal. And let me say why this is personal. You're coming with a Messi who has really lost the title against Bilbao. Then came back and then they play the next game against Bilbao in La Liga, right? And so, yeah, he got a little bit of revenge, but this is even more revenge. And why do I say this? Because you don't let that team who actually cost you some kind of pain win another title, right? And against you again, right? So it'll be kind of sad or pitiful if Barcelona actually loses the game. But it's revenge for Messi. And I say this because he got a red card against them, because he got into a different phase of Messi that we haven't seen in a long time, where he gets out of character. His first red card, right? So this is a Messi that lost control, right? I don't know if that was desperation or that was anxiety or what it was, but I'm sure this for Messi is like a final like any other that he does not want to lose. And the reason why I say this is personal is because I think that he's going to see it to another level to where it's going to be his responsibility to win this game. And I see Barcelona winning it at the end of the day. Why do I see this? Well, because even though Bilbao is playing really great soccer and is standing up to the height of those top-notch teams, this is going to be a Messi with full of anger, full of fury. And when you got a Messi like that, there's no stopping him. And I don't think Bilbao is going to be able to stop him. I don't care if you put 4 or 5 guys in front of him. He's going to break through and he's going to score or allow somebody else to score. Yeah.
I think the frustration of that final was the fact that, I think Messi knew that the team was superior to Atletico Bilbao, but Atletico Bilbao obviously took advantage of their opportunities in that match. And then at the end of the day, they did what every other team does. They play defense. They play hard defense to ensure the win at the end of the day, right? It was a tough match, a tough final for Barcelona because they were the superior team. Every statistic, a category they won. But at the end of the day, the only category that matters is the W at the end, and they didn't achieve that. So it was a bit frustrating for Messi in that game. And obviously, I think he's here to show out. This past match against Madrid, a Clasico, in harsh conditions, rain pouring, not making excuses for him because obviously he still came out and played and did his thing. But I think he wants to show out in this final as well, lift another trophy for Barcelona. And like I said, in this campaign on a positive note, not just with this title and hopefully, and like I said, like I mentioned earlier, hopefully with the second title, which that being the La Liga title at the end of this campaign this season. But we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I'm very excited to see. I will be watching it. I'll be here at the house or somewhere, depending on what the call is or whatever, or depending on how I'm feeling after my second vaccine shot since I'm taking it tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's a great final. I'm happy for Barcelona for them to be there. I think the team is a lot more improved than what they were just 2 months ago. The younger players are stepping up. They're representing the team well. They're growing in confidence. They're showing why Barcelona had faith in them to put on the Barcelona jersey, the Barcelona kit. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm very happy for Barcelona, and I hope that.
And that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty scary that you mentioned the youth of Barcelona. Just going back to the Madrid game, right? Madrid really has to open up their wallet and buy a lot of talent because this youth group from Barcelona, it is scary, man. And then Madrid doesn't really buy all this talent because Madrid is not developing any talent. And let's face it, Ramos is out, Varane is out, Kroos is probably out, Modric is probably in his last year or two, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, if Madrid doesn't buy talent, because that's what they have to do, buy talent, Barcelona is going to take over Madrid for the next 4 or 5 years because this youth group that Barcelona has, and I hope to God that they don't sell these guys or they don't get rid of them just to keep Messi or to get Haaland or bring somebody else in. I hope they don't do that. If Barcelona keeps this group, man, they are going to be lethal, just like they were with Busquets, Iniesta, Xavi, Piqué, Messi, and all these guys have been in that generation. That was just a dynasty, right? So at the end of the day, I think it's a scary group of Barcelona, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the future holds for these guys because there's a lot of great talent out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that you mentioned, obviously the past dynasty with the whole La Masia Academy being basically the first team for Barcelona, and then thinking about this, but the possibility of this happening again. Obviously a lot of the people who are against Barcelona, which is mainly the Madristas, the Real Madrid kid, they're the ones who look at this bump on the road for Barcelona this year and this past years, which are down years supposedly, but here we are talking about Barcelona and another final. So I don't know what team has down years and they end up in finals still. Regardless of the competition. But I'm happy to see that, and hopefully, like I said, like you mentioned, I hope they keep the kids, and they keep growing and things of that nature. I hope, and I hope that they sell the players that need to be sold, the players maybe like Coutinho, maybe a Griezmann, depending on those, depending on if they can get any value for those players. But obviously, we know that this show, the English version, is a little abbreviated because, it's really late at night and we're trying to get through all the topics that we can and try to give you as much information on the topics that we have, basically. But we wanted to make sure we got through those two topics kind of quickly because the next topic is probably going to take up 50 to 60% of the show. This is the last topic, but it's going to be a long topic. And with all reason, because it's the biggest competition in the world. The biggest teams in the world still competing in it. Great matches overall. I mean, to be honest, and just a lot of thrill, a lot of excitement. I know, especially for you, I see you rocking the Chelsea blue, and it's going to be a great semifinal matchups coming up. But before we get to the semifinals and who's playing who, let's recap a couple of the games. Let's start with your Chelsea's, man. Chelsea versus Porto. Porto ends up scoring a goal at the very end, 1-0, but obviously Chelsea still go ahead and aggregate 2-1 on two away goals. So they scored in Portugal. Your thoughts, man, on Chelsea and how they reacted towards the home and away leg?
It was positive. I mean, we expected this. I mean, if you look at Porto, Porto is a team that's going to sit back and try to get you on a counter tap, trying to get you on a stoppage ball, whether it's a free kick, a corner kick, and that's how they took out Juventus, really. And it's all props to them. I mean, they played an excellent game, but we knew this was going to happen. Really, Chelsea, what they want is get ahead on the first leg, and then come back on the second leg and play their game, right? You saw a dominant Chelsea, regardless of Porto sitting in the back. Yes, they got a goal at the last 10, 15 minutes of the match. But again, why are you going to give the best player of the match to Pulisic, even though Chelsea lost? Because Chelsea played better, right? And that's the idea, and that's I think that's where we can take the positive side of this. Tuchel's doing an amazing job with these guys. He's motivating them. He's exploiting them to their potential. He showed against Atletico Madrid that you could be up in the first leg and still come to another team's home and still dominate. Because let's talk about it. We dominated Atletico Madrid like they wouldn't even imagine, right? And at the same time, now we come into Porto and we knew what they were going to do. We knew their game style. And that's what's called experience. That's what's called being ahead of the game, being 1 or 2 steps ahead of your opponent, right? And Tuchel did amazing. I think he's just so tactical. He's so reserved when it comes to what it is that the team needs to do at certain times during the game, right? And that's what's important about this. That's what people don't understand. These coaches really take this kind of things seriously, because at the end of the day, one mistake can cost you the game. And so that's what it really came down to. And Tuchel has been doing an amazing job. I mean, the team has only lost one game ever since he came into the league, or ever since he's been with the team. He's won 13 out of 14 games. And at the end of the day, you look at it, the only game that he lost was because he was a man down. And because really it was 23 minutes into the game, and we got a red card. And so now he has to find different ways to stay at a certain level to either tie the game or at least be competitive, right? And it didn't happen. So once you have a full squad, and I think Tuchel, as long as Chelsea stays healthy, which is an issue in the Premier League, I think they can make some damage. And I'm excited. I'm excited for them in the future. I'm excited for them for this Champions League. And hopefully they can stay up in the top 4 so they can be in the Champions League in the next year to come.
Yeah, for sure, man. All props to Chelsea. I mean, I think Chelsea has turned around since Tuchel took over for Lampard. I think, he's a very much more tactical, much more experienced manager, obviously, But going from one English club to another one who wasn't as fortunate, Liverpool versus Madrid, a 0-0 draw. Obviously, that's all that Madrid really wanted. I mean, they went in there, broken bus. They parked the bus. They left it on Anfield. They left it there. They just that's all the game plan really was. Liverpool obviously tried to attack. They just couldn't get it. They couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. But our buddy Little Man's Madrid on to another semifinals in the Champions League. What are your thoughts on that game? Liverpool and Madrid.
Man, you look at this game and you think it's a shame. It's a shame that Madrid's gonna have to come out and play this kind of games, right? Being the big name that they are, right? But it is what it is. I mean, it's all about winning games, right? It's no longer about giving entertainment. It's no longer about showing that you're better than the other team. It hasn't really come up to that anymore. Teams and coaches are not relying on those things anymore. They're relying into more, let me just go win this game, period. That's it. I don't care if we play ugly or pretty. We just got to win this game, period. And that's basically what happened. Now, I do got to say that the game is all about situations. When Mohamed Salah had that opportunity in the first 2 minutes of the game to score, that could have been a game changer. Because Liverpool, all they needed to do was win 2-0. Score 2 goals and don't get any goals against you, and you would have won the game. That was it, right? So with that being said, those kind of situations are critical to the game. And as important as Salah has been to Liverpool in the past, this was the time to step up. because I know we're going to talk about other games in the future, and I'm going to come back to this. This is where you really see the capacity and the evolution of players, right? You got to stay consistent. You really got to stay consistent. Cristiano Ronaldo is a consistent player. Messi is a consistent player. Ramos is a consistent player. And why do I say this? Because when the time comes for you to take charge and score, you score. And that's what
Yeah.
it's about. And I think Liverpool, even though they possessed most of the game, Real Madrid did the right thing. 5 games, 5 guys in the back, 4 in the middle, 1 up top, and let's hope for a good counterattack. That was it. That was
You know,
literally it throughout the whole game.
and maybe it's the Barcelona blood that runs in me because obviously as a Barcelona fan and for those who follow Barcelona, even though sometimes I feel like, hey, we need to focus on just winning the game, but we got to, but the Barcelona DNA is winning the game, but winning it beautifully, right?
Yes, yes.
That's why I'm always kind of hesitant when teams go in with an advantage to their second leg and play a way that they're not used to playing. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Sometimes you can get too defensive to the point where you paralyze yourself, and then the other team takes full advantage of that and they score and they reverse the outcome. Fortunately for Madrid, that didn't happen here. Like you said, Mohamed Salah missed a great opportunity to put Liverpool ahead early and to really put the pressure on Madrid to be more offensive and get away from the ultra defensive system that Zidane went in there to Anfield with. But obviously, like I said earlier, soccer's about game of inches. It's about it's about taking care of your opportunities, making sure that you take full advantage of your opportunities. And Madrid did in the first leg. Liverpool didn't do it in the second leg where they were at home. And that's why Madrid at the end of the day is moving on to the semifinals. So 2 English clubs down, 1 more to go. We're going to talk about Man City, Pep Guardiola's team versus Borussia Dortmund and Erling Haaland. Man, it was pretty scary there for Man City there that first half, man, because Jude Bellingham, for those who don't know him, 17-year-old English kid who came from Birmingham City in the championship of the second division in English soccer, scores the first goal to tie the aggregate score 2-2. And with that scoreline, would have promoted Borussia Dortmund to the next round, which is the semis. But obviously we know how the game finished. Man City did what they needed to do. They scored the goals that they needed to advance. But man, they had Man City there for a little bit. Man, your thoughts on Borussia Dortmund and all those young cats out there running around?
Man, first off, let me just say something. Who's the scout for Dortmund, man?
Man, that guy, that they better never let that guy go.
I'm telling you, because it's like, I mean, Dortmund can let go of Haaland today, but tomorrow you're gonna have a superstar, right?
Yeah.
Aubameyang, Pulisic, Ruse, you name it, man. A lot of these guys have gone to Lewandowski. A lot of these guys have gone to Bayern Munich or a lot of other important clubs, and yet new talent just pops out of nowhere, right? Like, who is this guy's scout? Like, how do you check this talent out, and how do you think these guys are gonna do like in the future? And not just that, you're talking about a 17-year-old, right? Who wasn't even seen by other English clubs, who could have been first to take him in, right? And then secondly, you got Reina, who's 18, 19 years old. I mean, you got Sancho, who's still young. And then now Haaland, who's 20 years old. I mean, come on, bro. Like, you're literally becoming an Ajax, right? A team that builds talent, young talent, and sells them off and makes money. And that's really what Dortmund's become. But let me say something. That was a scary moment. And let me say this, because Pep Guardiola deserves a lot more. Not just because of the talent and quality of players that he has, but because of the type of strategic type of guy that he is. Now, you could tell that Man City was going to score. It was a matter of when, right? And obviously it happened with a penalty first, right? That's the truth. Which way it came, it didn't matter, because me as a coach, I tell my players sometimes, guys, we're down 1-0. Let's get into the area and let's look for that penalty, because we got to get that goal back. That's the first thing. Yeah. Once we get that goal back, we can relax a little bit, right? We don't have to go forward too much and take stupid shots or waste time, right? That's just the mentality of a coach. And with that being said, I just want to tell you, man, it's one thing that I think has been pressure on Guardiola, but it's not so much Guardiola, it's his players.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when we say Guardiola loses again, another important game, you think about, wait, this is the time for you guys to step up. When you're down and you're looking at adversity, this is what's really going to prove who you really are as a squad, as individuals, and who's going to overcome and who's going to step up and score, right? That's really what professionalism is. That's really what about any game really is, right? And I expect that. I coach high school soccer. This is what I tell my seniors when we go into a playoff game before the game even starts. Look, seniors, I expect a lot more than you. I mean, from you, right? And I expect you guys to overcome any adversity that gets in front of us, whether we're down 2-3-0. I expect you guys to overcome that because that's your last game. You really got to put your heart out there and hope for the best, right? And that's what Guardiola did. And thankful enough, he has great talent. The aggregate was I'm sorry, they finished 2-1, so the aggregate was 4-2. And congrats to Guardiola, man. I think he deserves a lot more. And at the end of the day, I don't think his value as much, even though he's got great players. By his players, I think his players, just to a certain extent, just do a little too much than what they're supposed to. So I'm glad they went through, and it's going to be an exciting semifinals for sure.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the pressure on Guardiola, you know, but I think, to be honest, I think Guardiola doesn't feel any pressure. Honestly, if I'm speaking truthfully, I think Guardiola understands that his legacy is cemented. He's one of the best coaches ever, you know, bar none. But the thing is, like, you know, like you said, I think that his players love playing for him, and they try to go out there and put it all on the line for him because they know that this stigma follows him right now because, you know, he's failed, you know, in quarterfinals with Man City. You know, he didn't win a Champions League with when he was during his time in Bayern Munich. So there's this stigma of him not being able to win the big games or whatever. You know, but when he's already done it, He's won numerous domestic titles in Spain, England, and Germany. He's won Copas in all three countries. You know, obviously Champions League, there's only going to be one winner. You know, but the fact that he's always in the run, making deep runs and having his team there, it's just an homage to him. You know, how he prepares his team. You know, and let's not forget, English teams have the heaviest schedules, you know, especially a team like Man City who play in 4 competitions every year in, year out: the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Champions League, and their domestic league. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for Man City. You know, other clubs deal with the same thing as well: Chelsea, Liverpool, all that stuff, right? But you know, I think that there's more pressure on the players or they put more pressures on themselves because they're trying to get over this hump for Pep. You know, because to be honest, you know, out of all the teams that I've seen play for Pep, to be honest, I think 95% of his players that have all played for him have never said anything bad about him. That they love playing for him, they learn from him. You know, all the great things, all these great things about him. You know, and I think that players really go out there and put X amount of pressure on themselves to go out there and put their hearts out on line for him. You know, and thankfully, this time around, you know, they came through during the semifinals. Obviously, it's still not over because at the end of the day, the objective for Man City has always and will be to lift up that Champions League trophy. And until that thing is done, you know, they're still on the mission. It's going to be interesting to see, especially in the semifinals, you know, what they're going to do. But yeah, man, a thumbs up to Man City, the supporters out there, and Pep Guardiola, obviously, you know, one of the best coaches, regardless of what ends up happening this season or following seasons. But let's go on to the final match that happened in the quarterfinals, and obviously is the recap of the finals from last season: PSG Bayern Munich. So obviously, we know PSG went into Germany and got a huge advantage, winning 3-2. Those 3 away goals, massive, you know, but Bayern Munich without Lewandowski still managed to score 2 to make it interesting for the away game. You know, obviously they needed to win at least 2-0 to move on. They made it scary. They scored a goal, 3-3, and then PSG. I mean, then like I said, I mentioned it in the Spanish show last week. are we going to see the PSG we saw in the second leg against Barcelona? Or are we going to see the PSG that came into Germany and attacked and scored those goals that needed to be scored? Which one? And unfortunately for PSG, we saw the PSG from the second leg of the Barcelona match. And fortunately for them, it was enough to qualify for the next round. But what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts? Do you think PSG can make it to the final playing like that?
Man, that was sweet revenge. If you tell me, sweet
Oh
revenge
yeah,
with not a lot of, not the best performance, of course. You did see a like a lethal attack on a counter attack, which is the game plan that PSG is really playing against anybody, right? And you think
yeah,
about it, and you're like, man, sweet because they lost the final against this team last year, and then at the same time, it's like Neymar had one of the worst games ever, man. It could have been 4 goals on his behalf. It could have been a whole total different scoreboard, but I don't see nobody else stopping this counterattack of PSG. It's so lethal, it's so detailed. Unless you're gonna really have 3-4 guys in the back and control the game during the whole time, I don't see anybody else being able to do that, right? Usually, most teams have 2 guys in the back when they're up 3/4 of a field inside the half of the other team. But I don't see Man City doing that either to PSG. But I do want to say this. To a certain extent, the injuries or the players that had COVID for Bayern played a huge role for this. I didn't think it was going to, but it did. But regardless of that, we know that Bayern deserved a lot more because they do have a great team. If not to mention it, maybe the best team in the champions at this time, regardless of them losing, right? But with that being said, I just want to say that PSG is just sticking to a strategy and they're staying loyal to it, man. And if that's the only way they're gonna win games, then that's the perfect thing that's gonna happen.
but
Go ahead.
no, but it's funny that you mentioned their counter-attacking style, and yeah, they're taking full advantage of the fact that when they get the counter-attack, they take advantage of it and they go score goals, especially when you got a speedster like Mbappe running the left side of the pitch, right?
Right.
But think about it, man. They had a huge advantage against Barcelona in the 4-1. They beat Barcelona and Barcelona 4-1, right? They, like I said, the 3 goals are massive in Germany. The 3-2 advantage that they had in the first leg. But what happens if when they don't have that big advantage? What if, because Man City is a different animal. Like I said, and depending, I'm not sure who's gonna get the first home game or away game, whatever. But let's say PSG beats Man City only 1-0, or it's a 0-0 tie.
Right.
I can't see them playing a counter-attacking style on the second leg, knowing everything's on the line.
Right.
So,
Right.
so they're gonna have to get out of their comfort zone, and I think the reason they were able to have those counter-attacking formations and be able to settle into that counter-attacking style is because they had the huge advantages the last 2 rounds.
And that's exactly what it is. You want to get so far ahead on the first leg so that when you go back on the second leg, you're a little bit more comfortable, just like you said, right?
Mhm.
But Man City is the perfect, and I want to say perfect victim for this because Man City is a possessive team, right? Man City loves to hold the ball. They love to control the game by holding the ball. But let's remind each other, this is an English team who is used to the counterattack, right?
Yeah.
This is an English team who, the other team is going to be 3/4 into their field and they're going to come out with that long ball. And this is an English team who has the discipline to get back really fast. Not just the defense, but those midfielders too, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get more organized, to get the ball out, to stop the counter, and let's get organized. And once we get the ball, let's go back into the area, right? This is the difference, right? But again, it is positive for both teams. It is positive for PSG because it is the right kind of team that they want to have against their back and go on a counterattack. And then it's the right thing for Man City because they know how to attack the counterattack, right?
Okay.
Here's my biggest thing. And I really want to ask this coaches this, right? If you know that Mbappe and Neymar are coming at you with a counterattack, why don't you foul? Why don't you foul way before they get into the danger area? It's just, I haven't seen it. They're just letting these guys run through them. And like, no, you got to create the tactical foul. I don't care if you make it 1, 2, or 3 times. You got to hit these guys to let them know, listen, you try to do this, I'm going to hurt you and I'm going to throw you down. So it really develops kind of a system of in your mind, oh shoot, I can't do this. These guys are gonna come really hard at me, right? So I haven't seen this happening a lot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Man City. It's gonna be interesting because both teams understand both philosophies of the game, and hopefully, I mean, to me, honestly, Mark, I see a final. I see a
Yeah,
final that should have happened in Champions for real.
yeah. So with that being said, let's get into the semifinals. We'll continue with the PSG Man City topic right now. So PSG Man City, obviously, um, I think I have to agree with you with what you're saying, but the thing about, like you said, with Man City, they're so used to going against the counterattack because, Man City and in the Premier League, they're an attacking force. Maybe not so much this season, but years prior, attacking force. A team that's going to put 4 or 5 goals in you, right? And then when a team they're going against, they have an opportunity, they counterattack and they have the players to go back. Fernandinho, Rogbi, what's this other guy's name? I'm losing my, getting a brain fart. But even players like De Bruyne fall back, who are attacking players. Bernardo Silva, who it doesn't matter. They all fall back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all fall back. Gundagar, that's what I'm talking about. They all fall back and they go defend. They know they got to play both sides of the ball, which is a great asset to have as a coach. Because you want players to have both play both sides of the ball, especially when you know that 70% of the tactics going against you are going to be counter-attacking tactics, because
Right.
you are a heavy possessive game team, a heavy
Right.
possession team. So you're not going to allow them to have the ball for more than 30% of the game. So when they get the opportunity, yeah, they're going to hit that long pass to try to get something, a rhythm going in up front into your half. With that being said, man, I find it, a little bit difficult because I think, the way Man City kind of froze out Holland with Borussia Dortmund, I think they're going to do the same thing with Mbappe. They're going to freeze him out. They're going to just, knock him out of the game. I mean, we'll see. We'll see because, Mbappe showed out against Barcelona. Mbappe showed out against Bayern Munich, in the first game at least. So obviously Mbappe is on a streak right now where he's playing like one of the great ones, and we'll see if that continues. But I think Man City's game plan is going to focus on knocking out Mbappe really out of the game and seeing if Neymar can really put the team on his shoulders and carry them and move them forward. So we'll see, man. It's going to be very interesting. I think Neymar, like I said, is going to be a great opportunity for him to showcase his skills. We all know how much talent Neymar has. We know how much raw talent, how naturally gifted he is. But these are the moments, these semifinals and finals that come up. These are the moments where you separate yourself from, oh, he's a great player, to being one of the greatest players. So we'll see if Neymar has what it takes to take that next step, man. But anything else you want to add on this semifinal between Man City and PSG before we move on to the next one?
Well, you said it. Man City is ready. Man City is used to this counterattack. Man City has Mahrez on the side, Gundogan who comes back and helps recover the ball back. I mean, Man City is ready for this,
Mm-hmm.
and of course PSG is gonna stay loyal to what they've been doing because it's working for them.
Yeah.
So PSG is gonna hope for that goal or 2 or 3, whatever chances they get. With Neymar and Mbappe, and Man City is gonna try to withhold that. And interestingly enough, you said it. Man City likes to close out the strength of teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to close out PSG? Well, you're going to take out their 2 forwards. You're going to put 2 men on them, man-to-man. Regardless if you having the ball, you're going to put 2 men on them and shut them down. That's really what it is. Yeah. And then you're going to use your other men to be offensive because they're offensive anyways. So that is what they did to Haaland, and that's what they're probably going to do to this guys as well. And hopefully it works. If not, we'll see what happens. But whichever of these 2 teams wins is a good. They deserve to be in the final. Whichever one of them.
Who are you taking? Who are you taking?
I'm taking by surprise. I'm taking Man City on this one.
Are you? Yeah, I'm gonna go Man City as well. I want to see Pep Guardiola succeed. I also want to see Kun Agüero lift up that Champions League trophy as well. But let's talk about the main event, man. Obviously, too bad we don't have Little Man on the show today. Obviously, his Madrid made it to semifinals, and lo and behold, who are they going to face? Fidel's Chelsea Blues. Um, you know, it's a unique matchup, man, because Chelsea, they're kind of up and down in the Premier League. They've been up and down the whole season. They're always hovering around that 4, 5, 6 spot in the Premier League, right? Whether or not they're going to qualify for Champions League or they're going to be qualifying for Europa League, right? But with all that being said, even though they sacked Frank Lampard, they brought in Tuchel, they had to learn a whole different system. They've been doing really well on it, Tuchel. A lot has changed. I think the team is more disciplined. I think the team is more aware of what they need to do of their roles. The formation change has been great for them as well, and I think that they're going to surprise people in this Champions League semifinal, man. I think that Real Madrid, if they don't watch out, they might get dealt with, man, and it might be an all English final. What are your thoughts on Chelsea, and what are your thoughts on Madrid? And I mean, obviously, I think I know where you're going to lean to for going to the final, but what do you think the chances are for Madrid to get past Chelsea?
So I see a very difficult game in the part of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what teams always look for. These English teams, they always look to create mistakes. How do you create mistakes? You put the ball in the other team's area. And Madrid is not bad at doing this, but Madrid is playing the same type of game as PSG, the counterattack.
Yeah,
because they do have players such as Vinicius and Benzema who can go up to the top and create, right? And it's okay. It's okay. Because if this is what you got, this is what you got, and you got to work with it. And that's how I see Zidane working with this team as of now. So, but man, I'm so proud of these guys from Chelsea because the potential's always been there, Mark. Tuchel just came in and gave instructions and gave experience and gave them actually situations and how to control each situations by the moment, right? If you're up 1-0, this is what you need to focus on. If you're down 1-0, this is what you need to focus on, right? These are tactical movements by coaches to instruct the players to understand their role when they're either up 1 goal or down 1 goal, right? And this is what's made Chelsea successful. In the last 14 games, they've only lost 1 game. And that 1 game, they lost it because they had a red card in the first 20 minutes. Right? And they lost that game. That's valid. But at the end of the day, if you look what Chelsea did to Atletico, as far as touching the ball, controlling the ball, creating with the ball, that was amazing.
Yeah.
If you look at what they did with Porto, even though they lost the second game, they dominated and came out very confident, right? So, yeah, you lost the game, but you also won because you saw things that can give you hope for the future, right? So with that being said, Chelsea is trying to stay up top in the top 4 places to stay in the Champions for the next year to come. But with Madrid, I don't think that Chelsea is superior than Madrid when it comes to name or players. But I think with Tuchel, they have the superior as far as tactical. And I think Chelsea can go offensive and defensive anytime they want to and be successful. Madrid, right now, they can only go defensive and go on a counterattack. But Chelsea can go both ends. If Kante can be healthy because he creates a lot in the middle, and this forwards can really finish up top, we're going to be successful against Madrid. Believe it or not, I believe Chelsea's going to overcome Madrid for sure. No matter the name, no matter what.
The wild card for Chelsea, and I think it still remains because of his inconsistency since he's come to England, is Timo Werner. That guy, obviously, he dominated in the Bundesliga last year with RB Leipzig. He's the future. Well, he's the present and future number 9 for the German national team. I don't know what's going on, man. I mean, he's just not consistent right now. He's not putting the ball in the back of the net, and I mean, everywhere else. Every other position, Chelsea's good. Chelsea's either good or above average. You're great. You talk about N'Golo and Kante. One of the best sixes, if not the best 6 of the last decade. You have Pulisic. You have players. Like Kai Havertz, who he himself had struggles adapting, but he's finally coming on. Mason Mount. Another young midfielder who's showing up. I think that Tuchel has the team ready, and I don't think this is a big, like, they don't see this game as, oh man, overwhelming. You're going against almighty Real Madrid. No, I don't think they see. Right. I think they've been in this position. I mean, they play against top-notch teams year week in, week out. The Premier League, the Premier League from 1 to 10, everybody has talent, and anybody can beat anybody in that league. So I don't think they're overwhelmed as far as like, oh man, this is one of the greatest teams in history or nothing like. Nah, this Madrid team. Let's be honest, and I'm not saying it because I'm a Barcelona fan, but this Madrid team is at best average.
It
An
gives you a lot
average.
of doubts. Yeah.
Yeah, they're an average team. They're not. They have a lot of leaky holes that right now are being band-aided. And Zidane, for however he's doing it with motivation or whatever, he's motivating those guys, and he's got them this far. So I have to applaud him for that. But let's be real. There's a lot of holes in this team, that are being overcome right now because of tactical changes of being more ultra defensive, or relying a little bit more on the midfielders instead of worrying about scoring a ton of goals, because they're really not scoring a ton of goals either. So, but yeah, man. I mean, it's a really unpredictable semifinal for me, to be honest. And because I've seen Chelsea play, I've seen Madrid play. So it's not really like, oh man, this team has a lot more advantage over the other, because really they don't. I think Chelsea has great talent on their squad, great young talent as well. Madrid, like I mentioned, they're still talented. They have a lot of big names on their club, but that talent is not what it used to be.
Right.
But they're still talented players, and they're still out there. They're still playing at a high level. So to me, I'm gonna go oppose you on this one, and you're gonna be surprised. I'm actually gonna be picking Madrid to go advance on this one. Which is kind of odd for me ever picking Madrid in anything. But yeah, man, I'm gonna have a Man City Madrid final where Pep Guardiola hands it to Madrid one more time.
So, just to have some fun. I do want to add a little bit to what you just said. I think one of the biggest things that can really take Chelsea out is the name, Madrid, right? And that's what I hate about a lot of these teams, that they sit back because they think, oh, Madrid, right? All these big names, but they don't realize that they can play these teams 2-for-2, right? If Chelsea really goes on there and focuses, and you said it, Warner needs to step up. You got CH on the other side who can also do some damage. You got great speed on behalf of Chelsea, right? So the biggest thing is control the situations, right? If you're going to play defensively, then look for that counterattack. Go against their very own same game. And it's okay for Chelsea to do that because they play both sides of the game. They play the dominant game where they possess the ball, and they've also played the counterattack. Chelsea knows how to and understands how to play both ends of the game. And that's great because you don't just rely on one game. You rely on two things. Okay, 70th minute. We're still tied. We're tired. Well, then let's sit back and look for that counterattack. That's fine. Chelsea has experience in that. Or 70th minute, 0-0. We still have a lot of gas in us. Let's keep possession of the ball. Let's keep taking care of the ball and attacking. So Chelsea can go both ends. So I see it the other way. I see Chelsea winning it. Don't be surprised. I think we're going to come out like fierce tigers or lions, and we're going to take over these guys. For sure. It's going to happen. We'll see.
So you have an all English final. Who I'm guessing you're going to have Chelsea lifting the Champions League?
Chelsea. and that's weird because when Guardiola tends to face some of these teams like Bayern Munich, like Manchester United or Chelsea, he tends to struggle, man. He tends to struggle against Liverpool. He tends to struggle. Like, this is the problem with the English teams. They know each other so much that they understand each other's weaknesses and strength. And I think that's the fear of whoever's in first place because the other team knows you too well. So that's always an issue. So be ready, man. It's going to be fun.
For sure. So just to recap, I have Man City and Madrid in the final, with Man City lifting this version of the Champions League final, lifting this year's Champions League. And you have an all English final, which is Man City versus Chelsea, with Chelsea lifting up the trophy. We'll see what happens, man. It's gonna be, like I said, the semifinals are gonna be exciting. I'm looking forward to the finals as well. We'll talk about that when that comes up. But yeah, guys, I mean, obviously we went a little bit longer than we usually do on the English show, but with intent, because the Champions League is a very important topic, and I know it's one of the biggest competitions in the world. And you saw the excitement between myself and Fidel, and obviously if you saw the Spanish show prior, the excitement about the Champions League just in general, because it is one of the greatest competitions in the world as far as soccer goes. But yeah, guys, before we head out, please, thank you for everybody who shows out to watch the show. Maybe not live, but afterwards, whenever you have time. We really appreciate that. Thank you again for the continued support. Please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Let your friends know about us. Like I said, we always say, word of mouth is the best way to promote anything. And hopefully you enjoy us that much where you can let a friend of yours know, and they can do the same thing for us, and pay it forward. Fidel, anything else you want to add before we head out?
Hey, yo, love the support. Give us a like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Always with our drink in hand.
Yeah, for sure,
Stay loyal.
Yeah, for sure. And before we go, man, tomorrow MLS season starts. We didn't forget about y'all. We'll talk about y'all next week.
That's right.
Hopefully, go Houston Dynamo, forever orange, hold it down, all that good stuff. And, hopefully everything goes well for the team this season. But yeah, guys, we'll see you next week, hopefully Tuesday. If not, one of the days next week.
See you guys.